Welcome to Hot Topics in International Trade, brought to you by Braumiller Law Group and Braumiller Consulting Group.
Hi, this is Bob Brewer with Braumiller Law Group and Braumiller Consulting Group. Welcome to the podcast. With me again for part two of our conversation, Victoria Holmes. Now, as I mentioned in the last podcast, how do I know Victoria? Victoria is my podcast producer back in the day, and she helped me build the first studio that I had here at Braumiller Law Group. Now that we moved to the new studio, she's come back to actually do a few podcasts with me and help out here and there. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be back. It feels so cozy here. I like it. So I just want to say that there are a few things about the studio that he has upgraded on. The cameras for sure. There are still some tweaks that we need to get, figured out, like the logo,
the whole logo and the shot and all that. But
yeah,
we'll get there eventually with the right lenses and stuff. Yeah. We're youngins in the biz, but you and I were talking in our last podcast about China, and I wanted to kind of get back to something that this is kind of interesting here, but the title of the article is pretty much that we, the United States of America, with all of our sanctions and our tariffs and our bans and all that, are absolutely fueling innovation in China.
Yeah.
So you would say, well, Bob, give me some examples. I say, look at our ban on Huawei. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Big time now.
Yeah.
With the microchips, everybody's kind of know where we are on this. And this is an explanation that I've kind of given some friends of mine recently. What are they lacking? Used to be that out of Denmark, now the Netherlands, ASML, which the lithography process that's involved with manufacturing the most advanced microchips, it's EUV, it's extreme ultraviolet, right? They didn't have that. We banned that. We kept that.
Yeah.
They were using the lower end.
Yeah.
So it's like that 28 nanometer chip versus the 3 nanometer that you need for the most highly advanced. But the 28, that's our phones, our computers, whatever. But you need to get there on the high end to really get into it, and it's military purposes and things like that.
Yeah.
But the question is, now that we're going to hammer them, have they come around? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huawei's come around, Xiaomi, one of the other phone makers, they're in the car business now too.
Yeah.
And as far as the chips go, they bypassed the lithography process.
Yeah.
They found another way.
Mm-hmm.
I actually said in the first paragraph of my article, I said, sanctions, tariffs, and bans. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh, my.
His personality is like that offline, too. Trust me. Me and him go back and forth all the time, and he is very much a very performative person.
The thing I said, though, was thinking about it from this perspective. The only one who didn't have a brain, all right, was the Scarecrow, right? But
yeah.
Dorothy and the Lion and the Tin Man had no excuse. If they were Chinese, they'd have thought, the yellow brick road's not the only way to find the little fat man behind the booth.
Yeah.
And if they're Chinese, they would have launched high-tech drones.
Yeah.
Found him in a day.
Yeah.
That's kind of what went on with the lithography process now. They've gone right around that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then we talk about all the other things I kind of highlighted, even the shipbuilding that had been brought up recently.
Yeah.
It is amazing how many ships they're building for commercial and military purposes. Mm-hmm. Making us look like a third world country, even from that perspective. Mm-hmm. Deep Seek. Oh my God. Remember when that was launched? And then that was like Silicon Valley was shaken. Yeah. But this is when the Chinese are challenged, they really do rise to the occasion. Yeah. And that's, this whole article I wrote on that, it's kind of my take on how they've really, and all these steps that they've taken. And by the way, this Xiaomi I mentioned, you might want to know this, but I look at, I'm kind of a musician, and so the earbuds that I used for music,
this is in your article,
and all of a sudden peeps know these really, really well. These Xiaomi earbuds for like $75. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just the equivalent, if not better.
Where do you buy them? Amazon?
I just got them on Amazon. The only thing you can't get because it's China is the app that goes with it.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously, they're...
security issues.
Security issues there. Okay, fine.
Which technically TikTok, not to go off the rails, but TikTok should be banned. And then the White House opened up a TikTok account or started a TikTok account, and it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Really? Well, but whatever.
That, we had a TikTok queen for a little while as my girl down in Mexico Legal.
Yeah.
So but we kind of backed off on that. We didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
Is it worth the investment to keep going on all this when...
At this point, I guess it is.
I guess it is. I don't know half the time, really. I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
I stayed, watching CNN. Shout out to Jonah Goldberg out there. Because I agree with about everything he says.
Yeah.
He's a smart man.
That's my boss for people who don't know. Well, not my boss. He's the founder of the company and I produce his podcast. So, yeah.
Yeah. And mention again for everybody, since if they didn't catch the first podcast, a little bit about what you're doing at the Dispatch again.
So, I'm doing so much. So I worked at the Dispatch for about 2.5 years. It'll be 3 years this November. And I started out as a podcast editor. So this was before, or while we were working together, I was doing freelance work. And then I went to the Dispatch in November of 2021, 22, I don't know. And then, so I started off as a podcast editor. And then because of my background in news reporting, because I was a new TV news reporter in Greenville, North Carolina, where I covered the 2020 elections. Tom Tillis was there, Congressman Greg Murphy, all those elections. So I had a little bit of reporting in my background. So I went from podcast editor at the Dispatch to kind of doing a little bit more reported pieces because of my background in reporting. And we cover a lot of domestic politics. My areas for the Dispatch, my area of expertise, or what I report most on, is religion.
Oh.
So that's kind of like my little because you have to have like a little area,
Okay.
my topic. And so my topic is religion.
Catholicism.
Catholicism. I know, it's like I can't even say it either sometimes. No, definitely Catholicism. And which is actually such a big deal in Washington, D.C. right now.
Yeah.
A topic for a totally different podcast, but we have like the most Catholic administration. You have J.D. Vance and you have President Donald Trump tweeting images of Mary, which is a very Catholic icon. It's not a Christian icon because a lot of Protestants don't really pay attention to Mary because of other issues. But so that's specifically a Catholic icon. And then you have, sort of like influential people who are also Catholic on the Supreme Court. So yeah, there's just a lot of interesting things going on. Plus you have an American Pope. So yeah. So I just kind of got lucky in the terms of like the fact that this was already my niche interest and that at this point in time, I don't know for how long, but at this point in time it's relevant. So yeah.
No, that's good. And as far as, and I want to mention this real quick too, if you didn't catch the first podcast, she's an author for me.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. Very, very good author. So you and I in the last podcast started in on China. I mentioned these things here, but there's a couple of things I want to mention that not so much related to international trade in general, that are interesting because there are so many things that are very common with the United States and China, and that are SMEs. We're primarily made up of small businesses that operate. I mean, honestly, I've been ordering from AliExpress for 10 years.
I've never ordered from there. I'm so scared.
Look at the tags. I guarantee you it's made in China, 80%. MAGA doesn't even know. Shopping at Walmart.
I don't even like shopping on Amazon because you don't know if it's actually coming from the supplier. You know what I mean?
You could put your stamp on it. It's made in China for the most part.
Yeah.
Even the MAGA hats, I think, are made in China.
Sure, yeah.
It's just, so there is that commonality now. What are the problems, though, that a lot of people may not... Their economy's not in the greatest shape right now.
China's?
No. And this goes back to Evergrande and the crash in the real estate market.
Yeah.
Think about it. From China's perspective, investing in real estate, that's your security in the future. Yeah. So they're putting all this money into this real estate that just absolutely collapsed.
Yeah.
I mean, the developers kept taking money but stopped building.
Yep.
And they showed up and they said, hey, and then they stopped putting money in. So what do you have now? 50 cities in China are now abandoned.
Yeah.
I mean, and I wrote in the last part of my article, my God, we got 800,000 homeless in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Let's work something out.
Do we really want to work something out with China?
Just say,
I know.
Well, instead of spending thousands of hours finding a way to kill each other, let's try to show the world that we can actually work together on something, just one project.
Yeah.
So we'll vet these people, obviously, because I tell you, who needs to be made whole is the people who've invested and lost the money in real estate.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention was the people that are coming out of college. There's like 12.5 graduates each year who can't find a job. Unemployment between the ages of 16 and 25 is almost 22, 23%. They've given up. They're not going to go to the countryside and work in the fields or anything like that. They've just given up.
Yeah.
Well, instead of us pushing this, I'm not saying that we'd have a brain drain out of China or anything like that, but we could find a way to bring these people in.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, they've got a lot of good ideas, just like Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that because they talked about people in China who are not very happy with, where things are. And I think the number was something like 40,000 people, from China showed up at the, United States border, southern and Mexico border, because they were just not happy with life over there.
It's tough.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because it's right now I see China kind of catching up to us in the whole innovation sector and what they're doing with their trade with their trade projects. But the only thing I see us where we do have that advantage is like our soft powers. So if you look at, we mentioned Latin America in the last podcast that we did, but if you look at Latin America, they don't want to go to China.
No.
Like the students, the university students, when they choose to travel abroad, they choose not to go to China, you know? And so it's kind of like, I don't know where we're going to go in the future with the current generation, you know, we call it Zoomers, but where these people are going to go and what direction they're going to head in. So yeah, so I just think that is something very interesting, is that like people don't want to be in China, you know?
Well, you know, they look at it from the authoritarian government standpoint.
For sure, 100%, yeah. I wouldn't want to be there either.
The one-child policy has come back to kind of bite them a little bit too.
Yeah.
And this is interesting, and this is you'll enjoy this. Okay. So women in general who've chosen to go down a career path like we're talking about and not get married, but have become successful, and now they're like over the age of 27, are just leftover women now. Nobody wants to marry them in China, and they're like, can't find a husband, and like, wait a minute, I'm successful. Just because now I'm the one with the car and the apartment, you know, basically they're asking for dowries too in a lot of cases because of that. They want a man who's got a college education, who's making so many a month and blah, blah, blah. The guys are just bowing out. They're saying, you know, forget that, you know, because all has become transactional in China now from the standpoint of marriage. You know, well, there's another brain drain. I mean, you want to get married? I guarantee you a lot of guys in the United States, some of these women are gorgeous. They just, you know, don't, you know, I didn't want to give it up early on in life. That was their choice. So as far as the two countries are concerned, I mean, you and I could talk about the problems in the United States right now for probably the next 7 hours. About what we've got going on. But to me, the biggest push and the biggest hurt, as far as I can see, is us not maybe having an ally. You know, because of the one more recent thing, and I don't think this is going to happen. You've written about this too, BRICS. With Australia joined BRICS because of us also kind of flipping them off and with tariffs, and they're on the cusp. Oh my God, what happened to the Quad? Now we're talking about Australia joining BRICS, and you know that would be huge.
There's just a lot of disappointing things coming out of this administration, which wasn't necessarily like that prevalent or that obvious when it first started. Like, I think a lot of people were disappointed in a Trump administration, or maybe not. Maybe I think people who actually were very MAGA, like Make America Great Again, like they do, like there are a lot of things in this country that are not great for the American worker. And so they saw MAGA as like the answer to that. But in reality, it's like there are just so many policy decisions that need to be made for Make America Great Again to actually become relevant, if that makes sense, instead of just like a slogan or a tagline or whatever. So I understand, like, people who were MAGA had this, they felt cheated out of a middle class life, you know. But I think Trump just used it as a slogan, and there's actually no, you know, executive plan or any plans being executed right now that would actually make the middle class family whole.
You think about what's happened with the tariffs, with the importers. Just out of edge. I mean, 38,000 jobs were lost just by that alone.
This is the other thing. Holiday seasons are coming up. People who are ordering their holiday presents are going to get these nasty tariff prices added to whatever they order online.
That's right. And I'll attest to that. What I was doing is experimenting with AliExpress on demand is being eliminated. Now that it has been, I ordered 2 shirts that are really cool.
Super cool.
And they're coming in about 2 weeks. Now, I paid $5 for the shirts. If I'd have bought them here, they would have cost me $35. Problem. $46 now in shipping.
Yeah, exactly.
There are 2 shirts that were $5 each, and I got to contemplate.
Yeah.
Well, had I bought them here, and there was no shipping involved, how much would I have paid?
Yeah.
And I got them directly from AliExpress. It's almost shaken out even now.
Yeah.
So the question is, are they that cool?
Yeah.
Could you actually get them here in the States, Bob? And the answer is, in a lot of cases, no. This shirt I'm wearing now, have you seen it before on a dude in the U.S.? No, because it comes from AliExpress from China. So we're about out of time on our second podcast here. If you want, we can do a third one and go to part 3.
Whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Thanks for stopping by again, Victoria.
Thank you for having me.